Okay.
Head of crime, sounds like mafia, doesn't it? Also a research fellow in the Centre for Heritage at the University of Kent, and I'm a very active archaeologist specialising in the intertidal zone of the Thames Estuary. As I said earlier on, most of heritage and protected sites and buildings are owned by the public. They're set with a variety of landscapes and seascapes. I think the ladies that were before us really epitomise this point here, don't they? It's that the community really does cherish the historic environment. This is the survey that's done every 2 years. It's called the Taking Part Survey by the Department for Culture, Media and Sport. Every year since I've been here, it's always been within 1 or 2% of those headline figures. So 74% of adults surveyed had visited one or more heritage sites in the last 12 months. And 94% thought we should be looking after heritage. That's the slide that keeps me going with this job. If I'm having a bad day, I look at that slide. And the one thing that helped me with my job was filling the team's development of the National Heritage List, because they were getting fed up with me going, can I have a PDF of Walthamstow? Can I have a PDF of Canterbury, please, to give to the emerging cohort of heritage crime officers? This has been the biggest thing for me, because I can just train them in how to use this, and they know where the heritage sites are on that patch. So the beat officer for Avebury, well, she's got quite a big chunk. Scheduled monuments, listed buildings, World Heritage designations. And the reason I was brought into that job, and that's where I met Dan Pett, was people stealing artifacts that are buried in the ground. Euphemistically called night walking. I just prefer to call it theft. We don't use the term looting. But these are the main heritage crime issues. Theft of metal from churches, theft of metal, say, from historic sites. Our biggest problem is the theft of stone at the moment. Organised crime groups plundering our underwater heritage. That weighs 3 tons. That's not opportunistic. You've got to have a diving unit, you've got to have a lifting platform, and you've got to have a ready market. Postal heritage, every day you see people stealing our post boxes, not just because of the intrinsic cultural value of the post box, but for what's inside, particularly identities these days. Obviously, Bronze Age spearheads, and something I'd never thought I'd see, a 3-ton cattle trough taken from the side of the road, one of 8 taken by organised crime group posing as highways engineers. Now they weigh 3 tons. I naively thought 3 tons would anchor it to the, now we've got to anchor the down. And most recently, you've probably heard, Ely Museum lost its wonderful Bronze Age chalk and bracelet. 2 men, well, I presume 2 men, 2 offenders on electric scooters with sledgehammers. And this had been found by a detectorist. He'd done the right thing, and it had been sold to the museum for everybody to enjoy. And I've been in the police and I've been doing this job for some time now. I've never experienced this level of protest and campaigning. And they're using heritage as a backdrop, not because it's Wellington Arch, but because they know the media is going to be there. Anybody visited this site, Sycamore Gap on Hadrian's Wall? They're back at Crown Court tomorrow, so it is a live case, so I can't say too much. But what I can show you is it doesn't look like that anymore. It's like that. You'll find out the concept, the motive during the trial period. But that grabbed the eyes of the world. that case. So we now have heritage cops in every police area, not just England, but the United Kingdom. And in terms of what I've been asked to do for the second phase of this project, because we're now into the sort of second decade of heritage crime, is how we're going to capture and utilise the new technologies, new techniques that will allow us to keep one step ahead of the criminal fraternity. So we have some big campaigns. Operation Crucible is to do with preventing the theft of heritage metals and the illicit trade thereof. Communities, Neighbourhood Watch is nearly 45 years old now. Heritage Watch is a distinct and distinct and key component of Neighbourhood Watch. And in terms of volunteers, we have Heritage Watch volunteers on horseback, equipped with the NHLE, Phil, which means that they can actually patrol sites. And the demand for what three words has never been higher. All the emergency services, rescue services, all use this now. And if you call any of those control rooms, you give that, you get directly to the site. And this is the big piece of work. Children and young people. Can you just push that door to for me, could you? Thank you. We did a project just before the pandemic, which was with our young police cadets. These are volunteers. 3 or 4 hours a week, they're uniformed. Not all of them want to become police officers, but there's 17,000 of them. We developed a little module. It was so successful that we said, who else wants to work with us? And the answer is 27 youth groups want to work with the heritage sector. That's about 2 million young people. So that's from 7 to 25 years of age, that is. And another mention for Phil, the piece of work that we're using to build this up is missing But there's another anniversary this Thursday, which is the first deployment of autonomous unmanned aircraft drones. So the V-Weapon program, and from the work that Tim and Emma did, we're now looking back over those images to pick up the craters from not just the Doodlebug flying bombs, but also the V2 rockets. So maybe that's a project we could look at, Phil.
Yeah.
We've called it Shadow over England because that was one of the propaganda leaflets that the Nazis put inside the Doodlebugs. So when they exploded, the leaflets scattered everywhere. Just finished our threat assessment. We do it every 2 years, and the two main threats are theft of stone and high-value burglaries. And if success is sending people to jail, then we're pretty good at it. So some Nighthawks that stole a Viking hoard, 24 years in jail between them, £1.2 million confiscation order. And he appealed it. It was rejected. So he's either got to pay up £600,000 or another 5 years. So again, we're good at this. Now got to concentrate on sort of neighbourhood level, violent crime. Any questions? Just drop me a note.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.